Hi everyone and welcome back to Japan, where today I'm going to be checking out more baby metal, of course, because the fans have been really great. You guys have suggested lots of music. But one of the things I wanted to go back and do is I listened to a couple of the songs from earlier in their career, and I wanted to go back to that because, as you have been following me for a while know, I basically started listening to them on this channel because of the fact that I'd heard them when they first came out, just a couple of singles, and then just years went by when I didn't really follow up on it, and hearing new stuff that you guys suggested made me think, well, actually this is a much more quality artist than I ever would have expected from what I originally saw, which was a bit of a gimmick. But I have been going back and listening to the older stuff and realising that there was a lot of quality and charm to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be listening to an older song called Doki Doki Morning. I should point out, because of the way it's written, it's not Doki Doki, which is like the... You might know it's like a sort of onomatopoeia for that in Japanese. It is written Doki Doki Morning, so I don't know what's going on there. By the way, as you can see, I'm being lit up by the television. It's very dark in this room, so I've left it on, so occasionally it will look like I'm in some sort of weird strobe lighting thing. Just go with it, okay? Anyway, here we go. Doki Doki Morning by BABYMETAL. Hold up. It is BABYMETAL. Oh, okay. Imananchi Spacey, what time is it? Hold up. We've gone full pop now, except the kick drum. It's quite noticeable in this one how the lead girl, Sue, seems to be quite a lot older than the other two. Just growth spurts, but you know. In the corner. Was that like a little skeleton or something in the corner? Watching. All right, Yeah, I'm not going to interrupt this video, just in case. No, we're safe. No shocks at the end. Okay. I've got more to say about that than I thought I would. Okay, where do we begin? Alright, first and foremost, before I get into any of my opinions, I just want to break down what I think that kind of was as a creative thing. The first thing that struck me is that, so it came with the pop intro and I was like, oh, this is like full on pop, but then it went metal. I was like, oh, okay, so it's just them playing around with that. But actually, upon hearing it all the way through, that was a pop song, in my opinion. That was a pop song, rather than being what they tend to do more now, which is they do, proper metal, basically. Proper metal with a little bit of a different take on it. That was a pop song. I will defy anyone who says otherwise. That was a pop song played with a metal panache, played with double kicks, played with heavy electric guitars. But that was a pop song, and the video was a pop video. I mean, the video basically looked exactly like something Kyary Pammy would do. Kind of had like the Fashion Monster video she did where everyone was dressed up. It kind of looked like it had that vibe to it. Now, they occasionally had the little bit of sort of screaming metal bits in the video, which were clearly to add that element to it. But again, that felt more like parody. Again, I'm going to use Kyary Pammy as an example. The Invader video, I think, was it just called Invader or something like that, where she has like a dubstep breakdown in the middle and everything goes really heavy. Again, that was more of a sense of parody. Not to say it didn't work, and not to say this didn't work. Both of them clearly did work in their own respect. But that's interesting because with everyone talking about, BABYMETAL is, this is a real serious metal band who broke all the metal fans and, really changed a lot of opinions, which I agree with. It is interesting to see that there was clearly a point when they were just able to do a straight out pop song. And maybe they have some stuff on their albums now, which is a bit more like that, but that's quite different from anything writing style that I've seen from them recently, and certainly from what I would expect. Even with a lot of their older stuff, it was metal just with some pop instruments. That was a pop song, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to stop banging that drum because, like I say, I'm not saying any of that as criticism, just as pure interest and surprise. One thing I want to say about that is that here's my opinion, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Maybe if I don't actually remember having heard that one when they first came out. That's not one because that would have stuck in my head if they had, not just for catchiness, just because there is something very distinct about that. So I'm trying to get my thoughts in order here. I never edit, you know this by now. I think with that song, it's something where it just is incredibly likable, and the main reason is because when we look at it now, we can see it from the perspective of this is a band who they're not just a pop act. I know that the whole way they work from a business standpoint is still very much like a Japanese pop group would do. And, that's absolutely fine. I mean, the way they put together, why not take advantage of that? This is one thing I've said before. They get a little bit of an edge on a lot of metal bands because they can put themselves forwards in a way that a pop group does, with, a bit more of a cult of personality, a little bit more emphasis on show, the ability to have staff writers and staff musicians who can change things up. So now that we have that perspective on them, and now we've seen them after a few years, and their career having developed, looking back at that now has a lot more credibility, whereas if I'd seen it initially, I'd have thought, it would come across a bit like, I don't want to sound like I'm slagging off any bands, but when that Ladybeard thing came out, that was Ladybeard, something like that. That had some moments, some really interesting, fun moments to it, but basically that kind of sounded more like this is just a straight pop thing, and it was hard to give it quite as much musical credibility as you would to a normal band. Whereas with this, like I say, working in reverse, and we can say, okay, now looking back at that, it is something very credible. So actually, if I were to go to one of their live shows now, and as many of you may remember as well, I had one chance to go to one of their live shows in London, and my friend screwed me on tickets. But in a way, that's a good thing, because if that had happened, I wouldn't be able to reunite with them through this with you guys. But yeah, if I was to see them live, I would want them to play that song, and I'd be interested to know, do they play it live nowadays? And would you guys really want to hear that song? Is that one where you guys want to hear it? Because to me, that adds a lot of variation to their sound, and now comes across a lot more credibility as, look, we can do pop too. You know that we're a credible act, but we can do pop too. So yeah, in my opinion, that was really refreshing to hear. I loved seeing them having fun. And it's okay to do the metal thing, but I think one of the problems I've always had with metal as a general, and this is just all metal acts, is sometimes the excessive need to come across seriously is a little bit tiring. I mean, I remember I was talking to, when I was living in England, actually in the town I grew up in, I spent a lot of time talking to a friend of mine who owned a music shop, and he always had the magazines come in, from, music magazines were sold, well, not sold, but given to the shop to distribute. And it was always the same thing. They always had pictures of the current bands, and it was always metal bands because it's a music shop, so like guitar magazines. And we used to play a game where we'd go through the magazine trying to find any picture of anyone smiling. Like, these people have a lot of money, they do music for a career, none of them are smiling. So, when I see metal bands, sometimes that really puts me off them, is they just don't seem to be enjoying it. And I know that it's kind of like a dramatic genre, but come on. With this, a lot of their stuff now is more serious, but it is just really refreshing to see they have the ability to be silly, they have the ability to have fun. This was another thing which I also enjoyed listening to, the band-made songs I've been listening to recently, and a lot of the Japanese acts. But yeah, like I said, I think I've kind of summed up everything. I think they're refreshingly different. Great to see a full-on pop song, in my opinion, done by an act who we now know is a credible act with real interest in genuinely producing interesting music. And I just really now would like to hear, like I say, from you guys. What do you think? Do you guys think of that song with fondness? What is your opinion of it? Do you think it's out of character for them? Do they play it live? Do you want to hear it played live? And what's just your whole feeling on that? Because that, to me, was a real left field one for them. Even though that was the whole, if you like, the whole gimmick that made them famous to begin with, is the mixture of pop and metal. Anyway, enough of me rambling. I think I've covered a few points 3 or 4 times over there and repeated myself. But brilliant song. And thank you very much for bearing with me. So get in those comments section type stuff. All the YouTube stuff, subscribe, and I'm not going to bore you. Anyway, until you want to join me again in Japan, for now, ciao ciao. I need to go recover from that one.